Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Game and we're returning to our Let's Play of Hearts of Iron 4 in the Kaiserreich edition, where we are playing as the United Kingdom. This is an interesting development over here. It seems like Belgium has split up into Wallonia and Flanders. I was saying, we are playing as Communist Britain. We are pretty much preparing our nation for war. There are a couple of developments over here. We will just keep on going until 1937 probably hits, and I think that's probably what we're going to do this episode. A little bit of chromium missing, not too much really. I've sent my other unit over here to reform. Meanwhile, these guys here are repairing these dreadnoughts. They are now all on train, so I think that's okay. I think one more thing that we might want to do is get these guys here to switch out from their infantry with tank to infantry with artillery, so that should be fine. They should be getting some reinforcements there. It's probably going to take a little bit until they have all of the equipment that they need. But all in all, that should very much be okay. I suppose we don't really have any gap in terms of infantry equipment. Motorized, yes. Artillery, not so much, so that is okay. And that means actually you guys here can go ahead and... Okay, you are ending your hostilities, that's okay. And let's train up our primary army here, just so that these guys are all a little bit more than trained. And good. Commune of France has telegraphed the Swiss government to seize a little bit of territory. That is interesting. We also have a couple of free dockyards now, and that is very interesting indeed. Let's revisit that in a second over here. We've also got the ability to support the communists. I don't think we will do that in the US because we want to get that territory. Right, and the issue of what I want to do here with my equipment is some of these dreadnoughts over here. You are terribly, terribly slow. Why are you so incredibly slow? So you've got 10.8 knots, I think is the very minimum over here. And some of these guys are indeed faster, so I think what I would like to do is actually re-equip this ship here, the Queen Elizabeth. Really? Queen Elizabeth class? Is that what it's still called? And give them a little bit better anti-artillery. That's okay. Also give them a little bit of better secondary artillery, but most importantly, give them much better engine. Refitting the engine is extremely expensive, so that is not something that you'll tend to do very often, but I do think that it does make some sense over here. Yeah, let's give you a scooch more fire control. I think that's okay too. Switching on the battery itself, I don't think that is something that we are going to do over here, simply because the costs would increase dramatically. You would have a little bit of better piercing, but all in all I think that's not really worthwhile. And this is a fairly cheap upgrade, so we are going to go ahead and do this. How do you call it? Was it Queen Elizabeth? Okay, fine. And which unit was that? I think it was this 10.7. It was 10.8, right? Some with 10.8. You, the Iron Duke class. Also, I'm really not sure whether we are calling our ships Duke anymore, but probably that's okay. And we can refit these guys. There is no existing design. Can you show outdated stuff? I would have hoped that we could. Well, no, wait. It's you. This guy here. You. Refit. Red Creek, Dreadnought. Yeah, that's the one. Much better speed. Yeah. Reliability goes down. Fuel usage goes up. But that's okay. Yeah. It's going to take about a year or so. But I'm very well prepared to do that. You, likewise, should please upgrade. There you go. Thank you. And you as well. Because you're slow. That about settles all of these ships. So, okay, that's fine. And all of these ships should primarily go into dockyards now. Should see them over here. Yeah, they are being rebuilt, and it's going to take a while to do that. In fact, prioritize the rebuilding of this stuff. That also means we can do with a little bit less of chromium. So yeah, the home-built chromium is perfectly fine for that, so I think that's going to be alright. Yeah, fantastic. We also could, I suppose, switch out of export focus. Not really something that I do think we need to do. Tank designer, we only have heavy tank designers and light tanks, neither of which is something that I would like to see. We could go for the small stuff over here, max range, depth charges, yeah, that would be great. Also submarine. Aircraft designer, I think Supermarine Spitfire would be great to have. But it's a little while off, so we don't need to really rush this. Any of this infantry equipment, I mean, we are probably pretty close to researching infantry equipment in 1939. So it might be worthwhile to go for something like this, soft attack and defense. Soft attack for infantry equipment it's usually huge, I find, because even if we are going for a very tank heavy focus, I think that's probably one of the biggest impacts that there's going to be. An industrial concern, again, most of this is really not that impactful, I find. Switching out a couple of our ministers. I don't think we can switch you. Same on decryption. No. Honestly, justified land constructions. No, any of this is really not that useful, I find. Economy is pretty good, actually. Minister of Interior could actually be better. Stability is nice. Daily political power gain is nice but negligible, really. Takes 1,000 days basically for this to repay itself. So about 3 years. That's really way too long. Well, this stability would be okay. Construction speed would be nice as well. Stability plus 5%. Local manpower plus 5%. Local factories 5. Terror in the night. Violet Lansbury. That does sound intimidating though. Consumer goods factories minus 2%. Ooh. Nice, but not really that great. Stability plus 5%. That is not bad. Total list. I think she sounds great. Let's pick her. I think that's fine. You are very good as well. Don't think we have any theorists. Air Force, we could do with a lot of these things. As a priority is usually something that I like. So that might be something that we pick later on. Rise of the Mongol Empire. Really interesting. Right, Chief of the Navy, 4th Balkan War, something is going on there. Don't think that's really something that we do need to worry about too much. Yeah, it's a little bit sad that we are sort of everywhere, all over the place. Part of the Phyllis International Program, our comrades in Paris and London have just delivered us a much needed help. Industrial machines, mining equipment, weapons. All of this is being unloaded in our ports. Our friends in our comrades in London have delivered us help. I appreciate that, but I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. Okay, what do we want to do over here? Submarine operations, yes, nice. Battle fleet, very good, I think. Convoy sailing, let's go for the straight thing over here. I think that's going to be very good. No, I really don't have any interest in... Well, I mean... How are you looking? US Civil War. I think you're doing fairly good, actually. Combined Syndicalist States of America. Mexico has joined. That's very lovely. So Mexico is now an official ally, and I very much appreciate that. Depth charge. Can we go for the active mortar? If only we had a little bit of naval experience, we would be much better at this. But only 56 days. Okay, let's... It's a little bit ahead of time. We might just park that for a second. These things are as well though. Maintenance company or field hospital. Still, I think that's worthwhile, and we'll probably want to integrate that into our army templates. So that might be something that we should research early. As is the naval technology though. Computing machine also very good because it does give a big research speed bonus. And that's not to be shrugged at. So often it is worthwhile to just do that a little bit early. But it's 210 days. So I don't think that's worthwhile yet. Okay, let's just go for the field hospital. It's not ahead of time, and it's something that we will need at some point. We're losing a little bit of aluminium, so let's just ask our French friends to help us out there. We are building more fuel. That's good. How are you guys doing? Okay, you are all trained up. So we can basically stop this, please. How about you? You're doing fine. I think you can do with a little bit more training though. Although we don't really have the oil, so it's fine. Let's not do that for now. We have expanded the industry in Wales. That's lovely. Could expand the industry in Sussex as well, and then Gloucester, and then mobilize industry. Could also reform, dissolve the militias. It costs us a lot of political power, but it would be good because that effect of the militia is really not good for us. So if you remember well, we have a minus 20% organizational structure. That's really bad. Especially if we ever want to go on the offense. On the other hand, if we do go for this one, we'd be also getting rid of that. And we'd be getting some more support for our party. Division organization plus 10%, plus 10%. So both of these would basically get rid of the negative stuff. On core territory, we would be pretty much invincible. Whereas over here, it would just give us a big boost to division organization. Not bad. Dickens' plan for 4th Fleet in being. Doctrine. Basically, we could do something very fast there. And a little bit of naval experience. Not bad. I think we need this. Political power would always be good. But you know what? I think we should go for the revolution. Let's try this. I think it's going to be fine, hopefully. Let's see. So we're going to go and try to be full on communists over here. We are building up our fuel stockpiles, mostly from refineries at this point, which I very much appreciate because we are building a couple of those. I don't want to spend too much to import oil. We also have quite a bit of positive effects over here. Revolutionary plus 75. That's great actually. How much does it cost us to build one? It's basically 2 times as expensive as a factory though. Let's keep an eye on developments around the world. So we've got a big Bulgarian war over here. We've got of course the Spanish stuff. Mobile warfare. All infantry. Organization plus 15. Yes please. That sounds like a very good idea. Yeah, and we do need the other tech slot as well. Syndicalism spreads to Burma. That's good for us, of course. And we can modify our government further. No theorist, Air Force, Chief of Navy, Chief of the Army, and Chief of Staff. Division recovery, infantry attack, recruitable population is not that important. Division speed, armor attack. I think this is what we probably want to do. Chief of Maneuver, yes. But actually the weapon manufacturing might be better. Artillery. Motorized equipment would be nice. Max speed is good. I think infantry equipment, it's just so useful. Other than that, we have that national focus as well. Oh wait a minute, what happened there with Italy? Not quite sure. We can park it for now, we don't have to decide on that yet. probably very soon we are going to switch over to the industrial stuff. And by industrial stuff, I mean weapons. Okay, everyone over here is fine. You guys can, by the way, join up here. Everyone's fine. Honestly, you don't really need to train up anymore either. So that should accelerate that a little bit. We have quite a bit of population now. And I'm wondering, you guys mostly need motorized equipment. So it seems like we are running a little bit high on infantry equipment as such. Let's adapt our production then and do a little bit less here and probably a little bit more there. I think that's fine. Why do we need so much aluminium? Okay, you're fine though. Yeah, but that does mean we probably also want to train up a couple of other divisions. With very little army experience. This template I want to get rid of. You probably do need a little bit more. You do need a little bit more. How about the Home Guard? You have 18 combat with. Could go for 20 combat with. We'll give you a little bit more soft attack, a little bit more suppression, a little bit more health. But really, honestly, not that much more in any other dimension. So I'm kind of reluctant to do that. Probably I'd even want to reduce their abilities there. Tanks, I think we're probably going to change that up at some point. Could we, by the way, actually exchange you for a motorized... It's motorized research. Light tank. So it would be possible to do this. It would just be very expensive in terms of combat power. Would it slow us down? No. Same speed. Organization slightly lower. Soft attack better. Hard attack better. Some armor. Really not that much, but great. Piercing would be much, much better. Breakthrough would be extremely better. Defense slightly worse. Yeah, so that is something that we might want to consider at some point. Really don't have the army experience at this moment though. So, how are we looking in terms of our revolution? 50 days. Political power minus 200. Okay, so we probably want to change, save that up anyway. Remove nationalist spirit militias, please. This is just planning speed minus 50%. I mean, division recovery rate plus 10%. That's the good thing in there. But plus minus 20% total. And I think the recovery is proportional to the total. And probably we have some issue there. Revolution. It's time to decide who we are. Is this simply a game for the rich, for a rich young boy to play? The colors of the world are changing day by day, and today we Marxisms have the opportunity to do our part. We will have to decide how we want to form this country after our ideas. The legal way, arrest our enemies, or declare martial law. Of course we're going to declare martial law. Resistance again our code. Today we have worked closely together with the army, loyal army elements to take control of all important locations throughout the Union. However, on many streets and courtyards we have encountered open and armed resistance. If we don't act soon, this resistance could organize itself. Yes, we're gonna fire and see what we did. So today we have worked closely. Yes, we have won. Yesterday the British Army marched out of its barracks and into the streets of the Union, securing important buildings and installations against an unnamed counter-revolutionary threat after martial law has been declared by the chairman. This threat then became obvious as the military forces came under fire from private homes, leading to a prolonged battle all over the island. The number of casualties is as of yet unknown, but the Marxisms pass emergency law after emergency law in order to contain this situation. The Union of Britain has transformed into a Marxism country. We did it! And here's the same text again. Hail Mosley. Okay. Here we are new country. That is fantastic. Hopefully we did get rid of the... Yes, we did. So that is fantastic. It cost us quite a bit of political power, but you know what? I'm fine with that. And we can't really do this because we probably do need to... fight the second Weltkrieg, of course. We could trigger the war in Ireland. We could build up our navy, and that would not be the worst. But I'm kind of tempting to go for the second research slot, or fifth research slot actually, down there, and I think that would be very important. So let's try to sort of beeline into that direction. How's our production looking? How's our recruitment looking? Construction? You are doing fairly well. I think we do need a little bit more military factories though. It's important and nice to build up the 70%, 70%. Don't know if anyone else is with other things. Oh, and here we've got it. Yeah, another hardliner in the southeast. That's good. Very much following our own example here. Everyone here is doing fine. We do need a lot more motorized equipment. I suppose we can get by with a little bit less infantry equipment still. Fighters are okay, although we do need a lot of those as well. Carrier, fighters, naval bombers, that's all good. Artillery, naval bombers. Do we even have a squadron of those? I don't believe we do. We have very few aircraft. Okay, let's add on another wing. Naval bombers, 200. Air agility, air attack. Night operations penalty. And over here, it's not that important that these guys do have that. Unassigned divisions. Okay, you guys are part of this now, and you will be commanded by someone who has some knowledge about tanks. It might not be you. Do we have anyone right now? I mean, this gentleman sort of is our guy, isn't he? Panzer expert. Could do a trade, but you don't really have one. Well, for now we don't really need tanks either. We do have an engineer. You could become fortress buster. Never bad. And I don't think we need that much equipment. So yeah, let's pick that. How about you? You are Panzer leader and an armored officer. Yeah, I think you also will become Panzer leader here. How about you? Commando and infantry. You could be a skirmisher. Ah, that's not important. Camouflage expert. Neither of these really do speak to me. So let's ignore that for a second. And indeed, I think this gentleman here is a very fine person to lead this attack over here, or this troop. You're also part of this. Low manpower? Yes, of course. We do know that this is fairly low. Honestly, it's not that bad. I think we can actually probably even train up with a little bit more infantry over here. Although ultimately, of course, the biggest point is to just get more motorized equipment. I think we can probably prioritize that even. And it seems like we are building up a little bit of the motorized stuff now. So that's nice. Portugal has joined the Entente. That's bad news. Portugal is... The Entente basically is our arch enemies. So yeah, never great to see enemies joining them. Or potential enemies joining them. We are doing fairly well over here. Enid Blyton, The Smuggler's Island. The Writers' Union Publishing House has today released a new book by the famous English author and congratulationist Enid Blyton. Secret of the Lonely Island is about the thrilling and romantic adventures of the siblings Julian, Dick and Anne, their cousin Georgia and their young dog Timmy. While on holiday with their Union Youth group in the Hebrides, the children stumble over mysterious events including a lonely island, strange ships and mysterious lights in the night. They're lovely, good to see, and we've got force rotation, so that is also good. Yeah, that was maybe a little bit bad to do that. But it's fine, and we are now in 1938. Oh, just look at this bonus, 85% over here. That's a very short time to research this now. On the other hand, weaponry would also be good to have and start to develop that. We also should potentially go for the active sonar. Why have we had bonus on that? Because we could spend something on that. 60 days. I don't think it's this important to get that quickly, but sub detection is extremely important to me, because I'm not sure what the Germans are going to do. let's do this the normal way for now. I think we might be alright. Good. We probably do have a little bit of fuel left over now. At least generating a little bit. So that leads me to believe that you guys here might actually want to start a naval exercise. Just get you up to scooch a little bit. Yeah, fuel, expand industry in Sussex, lovely. And let's expand our military industry now. And then ultimately mobilize our industry. And that would be extremely good because, again, production efficiency cap, but production factory output, great. Also military factory construction speed, nice. And again, the research slot is sort of within reach, so that is nice as well. Good. Kingdom of Poland has joined whatever Bund. Iran declared war on Saudi Arabia, or on the southern, on the Ottoman Empire. Interesting. And rebellion in Yemen. War breaking out there, basically. India is still quiet. Huh. Bulgaria. Kaiserreich. Lots of things happening there. And we've got some free military factories. Lovely. I think the best idea here would be to... I don't really need that many more light tanks, but more motorized equipment is also always sort of good. Need a little bit more rubber here. Probably have to ask the Dutch East Indies. Yeah, the war in the Near East is very much expanding. Again, we don't really have any... Oh, even the Germans took over Valencia. That's interesting. Probably would want to support these guys. Yeah, so that is done. Again, this is looking so great. Although resource gain efficiency is not really something that we do need. Rubber processing would be nice. It would save us probably a factory or two. Yeah, more like one factory, I think. Artillery, land doctrine, all very useful, but I think infantry equipment is something that we just simply have to try to accelerate a little bit here. In 110 days, and then we might go ahead with half a year or so research penalty, but I think that's going to be alright. You guys are all nearly done. Dutch East Indies being declared war on here. Unassigned divisions. Probably part of this fast army. Actually, you should actually be part of this army group. And then you guys here can stop your maneuvers. And instead we're going to ask the second fleet over here to just start their maneuvers. Just sort of leapfrog there. Export focus. Limited conscription. Can we go for extensive conscription? No, only at war. Partial mobilization. Export focus is still okay. Tank designer, and you know what? I think we're going to go for the infantry equipment over here. Although I would kind of be interested to see what the event over here would do. Maybe it's going to do something completely different. Maybe it would sort of act together with that. But again, just the research would be so important. Good. So over here, everything is developing fine. And ultimately, I think this is only something that... Okay, this is only something that could happen after the war, so we're pretty much done with this. That does leave us beelining towards down here. Of course, industry here would also be appreciated. Just modernizing our army, I think, would be very important. I think we're getting closer to war, and this is definitely something that we should be looking at more. It's something we can only start once we are at war. And then it will become interesting to do all of this. Research speed plus 5%, another research slot down here. Democles project, nuclear technology, liberation of Canada. Very good. Okay, but... Oh. For now... Jesus, okay. Right, for now, I think probably the mobilized industry is the best we can do. Yes, there we go. It's actually nice that we can do that. Although we're still lacking a little bit of fuel. So I suppose what we do need to do is at least build up a little bit of this factory here. Yeah, and we are able to stockpile a little bit, but ultimately I would like to get in a situation where we can sort of domestically generate most of our fuel needs. Especially once we have to attack the US. Although the syndicalist states are winning, and ultimately of course we want to bring back the empire. Interesting to see that Mexico is joining on us. It's joining us. Oh, and New England has been released. You're sort of liberals and part of the Entente. That is very interesting. Greece has joined the Donau-Bund. Can we have a look at the factions over here? So the Donia-Adria-Bund is basically all of these is centered around Austria really, and a couple of Balkan countries, including Poland, and we've got the Reichspakt, big block over here, including some Finnish stuff. Third International is not that advanced, in particular we do not have the Soviets on board, which is a little bit worrying. Right, so some technology. Do you want to go ahead and do more of this carrier organization, sort efficiency? I think it would be good to, just in the early days of any potential war, be a little bit more effective against the Germans. So I think we are a little bit forced to do this, and once we have this we can even start to rebuild a couple of our destroyers to be actual sub-hunters, and that would be great. Yeah, we're definitely getting, it feels like we're getting closer to war, especially with this stuff here. I don't know, I mean last time took an enormous amount of time for the war to break out, the Weltkrieg, the Second Weltkrieg. For now, I think this is a very good place to put in a cut, so thank you very much for watching guys, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye!